In the mid-1930s, the German Ministry of Aviation, Reichsluftfahrtministerium (RLM), sought to replace the HE-60 with a new shipborne reconnaissance biplane. Drawing in its previous experience, the RLM approached the established Heinkel company to develop such an aircraft. Heinkel responded by designing the HE-114 biplane, which was presented to the RLM officials in 1936. While the HE-114 appeared to be a significant improvement over the HE-60 on paper, its actual flight and service record proved to be disappointing. Few were manufactured, and while some entered service, most were sold abroad to recoup Heinkel's production costs. In the early 1930s, the HE-60 was adopted as the primary shipborne and coastal reconnaissance aircraft for the German military. By 1935, it was deemed outdated, prompting the RLM to issue a request to Heinkel for a new reconnaissance aircraft to replace the HE-60. The following year, 2 prototypes were completed, although the original plan was to test this aircraft with a BMW 132 engine. This was not possible due to them being in short supply. The first prototype made its maiden flight in September 1936, powered by a Daimler-Benz DB600A engine delivering 900 horsepower. The test results were disappointing, revealing difficulties in controlling the aircraft both in the air and on the water. The second prototype, equipped with a 740 horsepower UMO 210E engine, took its first flight in December 1936. This version was used to test the aircraft's catapult launching capabilities and featured several modifications compared to the first prototype, including a larger tail and redesigned floats. Despite these improvements, catapult launch tests conducted from the battleship Gneisenau demonstrated that the HE-114 was not suitable for this role. Despite its unpromising start, further prototypes were ordered. The third prototype was equipped with an 880 horsepower BMW 132K engine, featuring redesigned floats and an improved glazed shield for the pilot. This iteration underwent testing in April 1937, demonstrating performance comparable to that of earlier versions. The fourth prototype undertook its maiden test flight in August 1937, featuring numerous modifications aimed at enhancing performance. Redesigned wing edges, upgraded floats, and the addition of machine gun armament were among the key improvements. The fifth prototype introduced further improvements to the floats, enabling the plane to achieve takeoff even from icy surfaces. Although details are somewhat unclear, it is believed that 2 subsequent prototypes underwent testing with similar improvements, including dual machine guns, one synchronized to fire through the propeller and another one rear-mounted. Additional testing involved various other armaments, including a bomb load that consisted of 2 50-kilogram bombs. Despite their poor performance, Heinkel proceeded with a small production run of the aircraft. They manufactured approximately 6 to 10 units of the A0 series, along with 33 units of the A1 series. The primary difference between the two models was the larger rear tail design featured on the HE-114A1 series. These planes were allocated to various test units and flight schools, where their performance was consistently criticized. At the time of its introduction, the more promising AR-196 was still under development but not yet ready for production. As a temporary measure, Luftwaffe officials decided to delay the retirement of the HE-60 from service. Heinkel was informed that, due to the HE-114's overall poor performance, it would not be accepted into service and would instead be offered for export. Consequently, Heinkel developed the HE-114A2, which featured a reinforced fuselage, floats that could serve as fuel storage tanks, and modifications to allow for catapult launch. Although the HE-114A2 was tested by the Luftwaffe, none ever entered service with it, and it was solely intended for the export market. The following B-series aircraft were essentially A2 planes with minor improvements, once again primarily intended for export. In 1939, approximately 14 units of the HE-114C1 variant were produced. The C1 was a copy of the A2, but featured an additional machine gun mounted at the front. The last production variant was the C2, which was essentially an A2 without armament. This feature also featured a new Junkers Type 3.5-meter diameter propeller. The floats were slightly redesigned and it was equipped with smoke screen devices. Additionally, to provide better stability when positioned near the shore, a small anchor could be released. Despite its poor performance, Heinkel undertook limited production of the HE-114. The number of aircraft produced ranges from 98 to 118, depending on the source. The HE-114 was designed as a single-engine, mixed-construction twin-crew biplane. It featured a monocoque oval-shaped fuselage made of metal frame covered with duralumin. The wings had a metal piece covered in fabric, with the lower wings being significantly smaller and thicker than the upper wings. The lower wings had a half-elliptical design. The upper wing was connected to the fuselage by two N-shaped struts, while two Y struts connected the lower and upper wings. The upper wing was constructed in 3 parts and featured 2 ailerons. It could also be folded to the rear if necessary. The landing gear consisted of 2 floats, which could serve as auxiliary fuel storage tanks. This feature was added starting from the A2 series. Water rudders were added to the ends of these floats by Heinkel engineers. The HE-114As were powered by a BMW 132K 9-cylinder radial engine producing 960 horsepower. Throughout its development and service life, various engines were tested to see if it was possible to further increase its overall flight performance. Despite numerous attempts, none were successful, and any further efforts were ultimately abandoned. The maximum speed, while powered by the BMW 132K engine, was 335 km per hour. Its operational range varied between 920 km and 1,050 km. The crew consisted of a pilot and a rear-positioned machine gunner observer. They were positioned in a rear-open glazed cockpit. The armament included a single MG-15 7.92mm machine gun, positioned at the rear of the aircraft. This machine gun was supplied with 600 rounds of ammunition. Additionally, there was an option to externally mount 2 50-kilogram bombs. Despite initially being rejected by the Luftwaffe, the Heinkel HE-114 was pressed into service due to the Kriegsmarine shortage of seaplanes. The distribution of the HE-114 began in 1938 when the Küstenfliegergruppe Coastal Aviation Group 506 was equipped with this aircraft. However, by 1939, the unit reverted to using the older Heinkel HE-60, which proved to be more effective. Few HE-114s were used in their intended role aboard German ships. Most were instead operated from coastal bases. In 1939, several C-2 aircraft were intended to be outfitted on German ships that were set to engage Allied convoys. These aircraft were designated to serve as reconnaissance planes for these missions, as they were not armed. It remains unclear, however, if they were ever actually used in this capacity. Some served in the Black Sea, but most were used in reconnaissance operations in Greece. They remained in this theater of war until 1942, when they were replaced by better aircraft. A group of 12 HE-114C1 aircraft, initially intended for sale to Romania, was temporarily allocated to the 2nd Squadron of the 125th Reconnaissance Group. These units operated along Finland's shore. Once the BV-138 became available in sufficient numbers, the HE-114C1s were finally delivered to Romania. During their deployment, the HE-114's floats proved prone to malfunctions. They were reported to be too fragile, often breaking down during takeoff from the sea in bad weather. Although the HE-114 did not secure large production orders from the Luftwaffe and Kriegsmarine, it did achieve some export success. The details are somewhat unclear, but it is believed that the Danish Air Force acquired 4 HE-114 aircraft and may have ordered more. However, further orders were halted by the German occupation of Denmark in 1940. In 1942, Spain acquired 4 HE-114s from Germany. In Spanish service, these aircraft were designated as HR-4. Despite their obsolescence and the lack of spare parts, they remained in use until 1953. Romania received 12 HE-114s in 1939. During World War II, this number increased to 29. These aircraft were extensively used for patrolling the Black Sea. At the end of the war, the Soviets captured and confiscated them. Some of these aircraft were returned to Romania in 1947, where they continued to be used until 1960, when they were finally scrapped. Sweden purchased 12 HE-114s in March 1941. In Swedish service, these aircraft were renamed S-12. Despite being an unimpressive design prone to malfunctions, the Swedish used them extensively from 1941 to 1942, completing over 2,054 flight missions. They remained in service until 1945, with 6 aircraft lost in accidents. While no HE-114 aircraft are known to have survived to this day, parts of a wreck were discovered in Lake Sutgol near Mamaia on the Romanian Black Sea coast in 2012. There is also a possibility that another wreckage lies in a small lake near the Romanian town of Alexeni. This concludes our look at the Heinkel less known and less successful HE-114. What do you think of this obscure biplane? Let us know in the comments if you like what we do and want to see more. Remember to subscribe so you do not miss a single video. Also, don't forget to take a look at our extensive collection of articles on our website, plane-encyclopedia.com. Thank you.